All right. Finally, after a whole back and forth, we're finally able to record our interview session.
Per,
All right.
per.
Um, if anything, this will be posted on either accounts or both accounts' YouTube channel. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Today's interview is mainly to get to know Siren, our tarot reader, but also to get to know her on a deeper level. I am her friend, so there have been a few things that I would like to talk about so that we can shed awareness on issues that many teenagers face within the family home within Jamaica or
All right.
in regards to a wider perspective, right? Because I realize everybody go through the same thing. So,
Okay.
Siren, tell us a little about yourself first.
So my name that I go by on social media is Siren. I use that name because ever since I was a child, I've just always liked water and mermaids. I just felt very connected to the water element, and I was very into fantasy. So I feel like the name kind of just taps me into like a mystical side of myself because I kind of just feel like having a bit of a whimsical side to express yourself is very important. So that's why I chose this YouTube handle. Um, I'm a teenager, as Renee said. I'm 15 years old, and I live in Saint Anne, and
Hmm.
I just enjoy using Pinterest, posting YouTube videos, and just talking about different things. So that's how I would
Hmm.
basically summarize myself. And I have a plan and a vision for my life, and I'm gonna get there. Period. So
Period.
yeah.
What does that plan vision look like?
It really just looks like freedom. I feel like I
Hmm.
can't describe everything as yet because obviously that's just something you figure out as you go along. We never really truly know how everything is going to go. But it's okay to dream big and living the present moment. That's very important, dreaming
Hmm.
big.
Hmm.
That's what I feel like. But really, I just feel like freedom. Um, I want an environment where I have a relaxed nervous system because being relaxed is like so important. A lot of issues stem from stress and bad health
Right.
and not being like connected to ourselves. So definitely an environment where my nervous system is relaxed and sunlight and just where I'm
Right.
able to be free, like just be myself without any expectation. I don't
Yeah,
want to live
without
in any
judgment.
corporate area, no
Hmm.
hustling area. That's not the vibe I'm envisioning for my life. I really want to get back to like the roots of things and what it truly means to be a human being. Because in this society, a lot of people have forgot that we don't always have to keep up with our parents. We're allowed to just be ourselves, you know?
That's so true. And that's very powerful coming from a teenager. I always say it's like you have so much wisdom for your age and self-awareness, but there are a few things that you said that I would like to touch because I would know what you mean in regards to wanting freedom and wanting to be in a better environment, right? But your viewers have no idea what you're talking about. So, in regards to freedom, why do you desire freedom?
I desire freedom because I feel like one thing that everybody deserves, no matter the age, because this is what I feel like society has twisted up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is their own person. Everybody deserves autonomy, and everybody deserves to express themselves. Um,
Right.
the thing with modern society, a lot of adults, which stems from their own childhood issues, they mix up the two terms respect and fear.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of adults perceive robbing their child of their personal expression and freedom as their child being respectful. So I feel like when I refer to wanting an environment of freedom, just an environment where I'm free to be me and I'm allowed to develop and do things in my own pace without having to handle projections with other people because they don't have any self-awareness or understanding of themselves enough to understand other people. So what I perceive as freedom, it's just the right to be yourself, the right to express, the right to not have to put yourself in a box or limit yourself in order to appease other people and their emotions. We should all
Right.
be able to be ourselves.
Yes.
Expression is literally a necessity. That's what we came here to do. To be is to express,
Here to express, right? And
Yeah,
all of us came here to experience life, to have
exactly.
that self-expression and experience this new
Yeah.
life, Me being
We're all
really
here doing stuff for the first
exactly
time.
doing it for the
And
first time.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to do that I'm limited to, like, from many things. And also just having that personal space to really explore myself and express
Yes.
myself in a way that I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing with a lot of parents is they have a specific ideology in their head of who their kid is. And once
Yeah.
again, because of like that lack of self awareness, it's
Mm-hmm.
like they will project that onto somebody. And it's like somebody is here to be who they want to be and to be who they're meant to be. People are here to grow into their own person, not to live through you or to live up to your expectations.
Expectations, and many parents want their children to live the life they didn't get to live as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, with parents, it all comes back to how they personally experience life, how their parents grew them, nurtured them, and they kind of project that
Yeah.
self-conception onto their own
Yeah.
kids. So it's
Wanting to
like a cycle.
experience your own life and not overly attaching yourself to pleasing others is not being selfish. And if that's one thing I could say to younger people, that's what I would say. You're not here to please anybody. And a lot of people will call you selfish for not wanting to please them or
Yeah.
to live in a way to appease their ego when that's not your responsibility,
And I
you know?
believe that's why so many young people these days are waking up to the fact that I don't have to do things to please my parents. I can live my own life, make my own decisions, figure things out for myself. Because I realized
Yeah.
with the older generation, it was always about pleasing their parents, right? Trying to appease to their parents' emotions. And it continued where they repeat the cycle and they projected it onto us. And I
Yeah.
realized with this younger generation, we have developed a level of self-awareness where we're like, okay, we're going to do us. May I go to me? I'm not going to do you. Which caused a
And
lot of
yeah.
tension within the home as well, because parents will now say, you're selfish, you're wicked, you're mean, you're not thinking about me, etc., etc. But I feel like it's
Mhm.
just triggering that shadow aspect of them that wasn't able to speak up for themselves, you
Yeah,
know?
so it's like somebody speaking up for themselves. It's like, why are you doing that? You
Doing
should
that.
respect me. Because that's what
Exactly.
their parents like used to do to them. It's like your parents says something and you express an opinion that might be differing. And then they get bashed for that opinion. Sometimes that was taken out on them through physical aggression. Another thing with Caribbean parents, we like to combat things by using physical aggression.
Physical.
We don't
Exactly.
understand how to self regulate and control our emotions, and instead,
Yeah.
we like to lash out on
It's
vulnerable
the first
people.
thing that comes to us.
Yeah, we
Physical
like to
aggression.
lash
Yeah.
out on vulnerable people because we do not know how to regulate ourselves. Because, like with kids, for any little thing, like some parents literally just hit their kids simply because they do something that annoys them. It's like you
Right.
have the TV too loud, some parents will come and slap you, tell you to turn down the TV. You say
Yeah.
something they don't like, they slap you, don't say that.
Yeah.
It's like appeasing your ego and controlling another person by using the outlet of physical aggression.
And
And
let's
because you know that person is vulnerable, like this person
yeah.
can't defend themselves. that's a
And
literal child,
let's
you
be
know.
honest, many parents within the Caribbean or within society in general, they weren't ready to be parents. And
No,
because
they
of
weren't.
that, it's like they push themselves, they force themselves to become a parent and then know that they have to take care of another human being. It creates more aggression and more anger, more hate to the fact that, oh, I have to be a mother, oh, I have to be a father. So they take
Yeah.
it out on the child. I've actually heard it from a lot of mothers close to me who told me personally that they regret being a mother. They wish they had lived their life, you
Yeah,
know?
and there is a lot of parents that grow up in a struggle environment,
Yeah.
and they do not have the proper resources to actually take care of their kid and pour into them the way that they need to. So
Hmm.
it can lead to them personally feeling incompetent. So
Incompetent,
sometimes when the
right?
kid speaks up and says, "Well, I want more of this. I wish I could do this. I wish I could
Hmm.
venture off and do this." It's like that parent will get mad and they will call the child ungrateful because it's triggering their feelings of incompetence
But
because
this,
they feel like they're not able to,
so
give their
exactly,
child more. So it's
exactly.
like they punish you for wanting more and call you selfish because it's triggering their insecurity.
First thing I want to say, nothing is wrong with wanting things. Nothing is wrong with having your own needs and desires as a child, even as an adult. You have the right to speak for what you want and what you need, right?
Hmm.
But again, I feel like many people need to figure themselves out first before they have a child, like
Yeah.
heal, go to therapy. Many Jamaican parents don't believe in therapy. They don't believe
Yep.
in healing. Some of them, when it comes to healing, oh, that's obia, that's the devil, this is this and that. Like,
And yeah, and Jamaicans do have a tendency to undermine mental health and demonize
yes,
mental health from a
demonize.
spiritual perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we do not know the deepness of mental health stress. If you have too
Mm-hmm.
much stress, that can cause you to hallucinate. The
Mm-hmm.
root of hallucinations can be from stress disorders. But
Exactly.
then when it gets to that point, they'll even tell you stuff like, "Oh, it's the devil. You need to go to church." You need to do
Yes.
this." No, you
Yes.
don't. It's not the devil. First of all, and the thing with Jamaican society, we need to stop perceiving everything we do not like or that makes us feel incompetent as demonic. We need to learn how
Exactly.
to face our shadows because that's where the real growth is going to come
Real
from.
growth, exactly.
It's like anything that makes us uncomfortable, it's like we immediately label it like, oh, that's the devil, oh,
The
that's
devil.
demonic, oh, you need to pray, or you need to cleanse.
Hmm.
The shadow aspect of ourselves is a very important part of life, and that's really what boosts our self discovery.
Yeah.
So
The
it's like a
same
lot of
way,
people are living in a fear mindset
yes.
and they weaponize religion to not look deeper within
Deeper within
themselves.
themselves. So they kind of avoid all the challenges they
Yeah, the
personally have been
accountability.
harboring.
Mm-hmm.
And that results them in becoming like bipolar, having
Mm-hmm.
a lot of disorders,
Yep.
right?
And that all
And
stems from mental health.
all right,
See?
I work in customer service, and a lot of people they get triggered over the smallest thing. Like you can say something and it can be interpreted on a completely different level. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like that didn't have to be taken that way, you know? But I realize a lot of people, because they have a lot of pent-up anger, frustration, and wounds, the simplest thing you say can trigger them, trigger those wounds.
Yes.
And it's like they're in a survival mode. They need to protect
Yes.
themselves.
And
How
on
dare
top
you
of
tell
that,
me
they
that?
lack the self awareness to
They'll
differentiate
exactly.
control from analyzing their perceptions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Let's go back to you saying you want a different environment. Is it a case where all that we've talked about just now is something you are personally experiencing that contributes to you wanting that freedom to have that self-expression and all of that?
Yeah, I just feel like, growing up, not everything is perfect, but as you said, it's okay to want more. And I'm just in that space right now where it's like I'm growing into my person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting older. I'm just becoming myself. And with that, comes with aspirations, like dreams, things I want to do. And I do feel like right now my current circumstances are below what I want to achieve for myself, but it's
Mm,
just for me like taking steady action towards achieving the things that I want and kind of just sitting in that discomfort for a bit, just knowing that things will get better. So, yes, the stuff I
yeah,
speak of is from personal experience and just from stuff I've experienced in general, just as a person growing up. You know, it's like the inner child and your rights and your autonomy as a young person growing up is always undermined.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
seen as less
always like,
important.
yes,
Yeah.
it's always like you are Pitney, where you know. You don't know
And the
nothing.
thing is that if you look at adults, we're all
Mm,
figuring out life. And honestly, adults that have that mindset, like you're a kid, so everything you go through and all your feelings are less important, or they should automatically go invalidated. It's like those same people are the ones walking around with parental wounds because they were in fact not validated as a child.
right,
And the thing with Jamaica is that we talk so much about the youth and how the youth is the future and how the youth is important. But in the same breath, it's like we undermine the youth, and everything has to do with nurturing. The way you're
nurturing,
nurtured from your
exactly.
young, how
Mm-hmm.
you're treated when you're wrong, sorry,
Yeah.
how you're
Mm-hmm.
treated when you're young is that is really the contributing factor to exactly how your life is going to be when you grow older. So being younger, that's actually the most vital and important stage to pay attention to somebody and to nurture them. Because if you invalidate a child and if you ignore them, those are the people that are going to grow up in society that
Mm-hmm.
need a bunch of extra care, walking around with projections, don't know how to handle themselves, have all type of mental illness. So I do feel like we need to do better as a society in terms of understanding like a younger person is their own person. They have autonomy and they do deserve to be respected.
Right.
Even with my high school experience, I just it was just very interesting to see the contrast from the behavior of the teachers who were supposed to
Mm-hmm.
actually be taking care of us and nurturing us. It was very important to see the contrast in how they dealt with students versus how they dealt with like their colleagues, like their co-workers. It was very different.
Right. The
Even one
respect.
time, yeah, I had a teacher that had very erratic behavior. Like he was very aggressive. Like the students were like scared of him because he was always just going off. And I remember one time, somebody said something to him and he said something like, I'm a teacher, I don't have to be nice. So it's like that's
Mm-hmm.
really the mindset that a lot of adults walk around and have towards like kids. It doesn't matter what
Mm,
they do to you, if they offend you or if they disrespect you, it doesn't matter. They're on top, they're the adult, they don't owe you
yeah.
anything, but
Yeah.
you owe them everything.
Everything.
You owe them respect, but they don't owe you shit if they don't feel like giving it to you. So that's that power imbalance and that ego. So that's something I've like dealt with and realized that has just made me kind of build up like a lot of rage and resentment over the years
Mm.
to older people. And I feel like that's even, I'm
I
not
want
saying it's
to.
right, but I
Mhm.
understand why younger people nowadays have such an apathetic attitude towards the older
I want
generation.
you to stick a pin right there.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me a lot of when students were fighting teachers, and it's still
Mhm.
happening now. That's actually a prominent issue in Jamaica, where students are fighting students and students are fighting teachers, and
Yeah.
it has a lot to do with, as you said, how adults approach children at home and at school. And I
Yeah.
realize a lot of things stem from the home environment, right? And how do you think we can change that?
I feel like we need to have more compassion and understanding. It's a lot of situations where the child is constantly invalidated and treated badly, but as soon
Mm,
as they lash out and the it's like the mistreatment that they receive becomes like so obvious to the point that they're lashing out. That's when people decide to step in.
Yeah, so it's
But
important
in
for
doing that, it's like they
mhm.
invalidate, like, it's just like, you shouldn't act like this. Why are you acting like this? You're disrespectful, you're rude. It's like people will look from afar and they don't know what the hell is happening.
Yeah,
But if they see a younger person lashing out on an older person, they immediately demonize the younger person and say that they're
right.
disrespectful, they don't have any respect for their elders, stuff like
Without
that.
considering why they reacted that way
Yeah, it's
or
like
trying
just
to
this
counsel
cycle of
them.
just blaming. And it's like we place so much responsibility on the child to have self control and to absorb so many things.
When
But
it's
at the
the
same
adult's
time,
responsibility to have that self-awareness and to
yeah,
manage things, to be able to facilitate the space for the child to
exactly.
express themselves and their emotions. And I realize once you're able to express yourself and your emotions, you project all of those pent up emotions that was swirling around, and then you have a peace, you know? You can
Yeah.
come to a level of understanding. It's like you have to rage first before you can fully develop that self of sense of self-awareness. And I feel like
Yeah.
once adults are able to master that on their own, they're able to facilitate a space for children to have that
Mm-hmm.
space and just authentically express themselves and be themselves. That doesn't mean tolerating certain disrespect. I'm not talking about the disrespect you're talking about. I'm
Yeah.
talking about children who deliberately push to get their
Yeah.
way and deliberately disrespect the teachers. I'm talking about even then, it's about standing firm without disrespecting the child, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know what the child, the type of environment the child grew up in. Because the parents could be disrespectful and rude and brawling, and the child is
Yes.
just
And
replicating
a
that.
lot of parents, they display certain behaviors around their child, but then they act confused when their child acts certain way. So,
Right.
like for instance, children that have bad attitudes, their parents
Right.
will
Hmm.
complain about their attitude, but whenever the parent is mad, they regulate their emotions by lashing out on their
On the
child and
child.
portraying a bad attitude. A
Right.
child is a sponge.
They're going to do
They're
anything
going to
you
soak
do.
up anything that's in
Exactly.
their environment.
They just
And
reflect
yeah,
what's at home.
exactly. And that can happen in many different ways. For instance, teenagers that are hypersexual, that
Right.
usually stems from
The
issues
home
at home.
environment.
Sometimes they
Yeah.
feel misunderstood. They don't feel like they receive any attention from their parents. They
Hmm.
don't feel like they're truly seen or understood. They don't have that deep
So they
connection.
seek that from
Hmm.
others,
And
which
then,
lead
like
them
those
to
same
being exploited
parents,
as well.
yeah, those same parents, instead of checking on their child and saying, "Why are you doing this?" they'll just talk about how their child is fast. They shame the child for being hypersexual. And
And
the
how
thing with
they're
a lot of
worthless
Jamaican
and all of that.
parents,
Hmm.
the immediate response is to bash their child. Instead
Hmm.
of bashing somebody, try to meet them where they're at. This is a child.
Right.
A child. Sometimes I look at it and I feel like it's so crazy. Like, this is a child, a literal child, and this is how you're treating them. So
They're
it's
treating them
really
like
just like that.
adults.
Exactly. So at the same
Ah,
time, it's stay in a child's place, but you're responsible for regulating and having self control and being picture perfect everything. But at the
yeah.
same time, it's stay in a child's place. You
And
know.
because we force children to become adults before they're even at that stage, it results in a lot of adults now having a childlike expression and being immature. And sometimes we talk to adults and like, be an adult. Why are you talking like a
Exactly.
child? You know, because when they were a child, they were forced to be mature, which invalidates, that childlike expression. And then them forcing themselves to be mature and dimming down their inner child, it causes them to react a certain way because they weren't able to fully form mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, and psychologically as well.
Yeah.
There's
For
so
me,
much. Hmm.
yeah, this is a lot. For me, I've been able to develop a certain level of self awareness because I've had to analyze a lot of emotions and put two and two together on my own.
Hmm.
Because I do grow up in an environment where my feelings are invalidated or I'm just seen as disrespectful. or argumentative. There's been a lot of times where I was just trying to be seen and understood, and I was brushed off,
Mm-hmm.
told that I was just a child, told that I was disrespectful. It's honestly just a lot, So,
Right.
but I'm glad that in my situation, it responded in me like being able to cultivate a level of self awareness to do better for myself and pour into myself the compassion I'm not able to receive from the people who were responsible
Yeah, that's
for
what's
doing that for
important as
me.
well. Yes, pouring the
And
love
it's
into
sad to
yourself.
say that, like, a child has
A child
to
has to do
learn
that
to
for
do those
herself.
things on their
Yeah.
own, but that's the cycle until somebody breaks it. That's literally what it is. It just goes on and on until somebody decides to do it differently.
Right. So we're coming back to cycles. It's always a cycle. Everything in society is a cycle. And even everything we talked about within this video, um, yes, we talk about cycle at home, but these same issues is what is projected into society, why we have so many rising issues
Hmm.
within our government, within our schools. So it's something that always come from the home. The home provides the foundation, right? So thank you so much for giving all of that information. My God, you're pouring it on me. But
Yeah,
we
just something
talked,
I'm very passionate about
yes,
as a
so we talked
younger
about
person. So
how adults can see things from a from a child point of view, which is why I interviewed you today, because I'm like, a lot of adults need to hear this. This is what I told her at the beginning. Like, a lot of adults need to hear from your perspective so that they can approach their own children differently and approach not even their children, but other children outside of their home differently, like teachers, right?
yes, hmm,
So, with your experiences from high school and from your home and all of that, it really shows that most adults don't really cultivate that space for children to fully express themselves. But we see where it's kind of an oxymoron because a lot of adults, they themselves don't know how to regulate themselves,
yes, hmm,
because their inner child is still isn't expressed. Their inner child has always been rebuked from they were a child, come up to adult.
yep. And it's important to actually connect with the spirit of a child because a child is just free. A child really has that perception of love. They're very innocent. And it's for parents themselves to connect with their child and reconnect with that innocent side of themselves because it was snatched away from them when they too
Right,
were a child.
right.
So parents can learn from the essence of their children as well. It's really a mutual
Very
relationship.
mutual, right.
But a lot of adults are too egotistical because they
So,
feel like
right,
they're the adult. I should be telling you what to do
to
and you
do.
listen to me.
I think there
So,
is
mhm,
beauty in that as well, because many times we say, oh, we have to be fully healed first before we can have a
we
child.
can never
But
be
I
fully healed.
fully
That's my
healed.
opinion.
Exactly.
Everything is present.
Exactly. So I believe that just have an open heart and an open mind
Yeah.
while
Hmm.
we navigate parenthood. And as you've said, just learn from your child as well. Learn from that
Yeah.
childlike expression. Let them be themselves. And it's going to be hard because the triggers are going to come up, the conflicting emotions are going to come up. And it's
That's
like,
why self awareness is important.
right.
Yeah.
And I feel like for most mothers and fathers, they're going to battle between, okay, I am feeling this, but I need to step into a mother or father role, sorry. And it's going to be a bit hard, but I believe it's imperative for us to actually work on this in order to create a change in society and be compassionate with yourself.
Yeah.
You said it before, compassionate with yourself. Pour that compassion and love that you weren't able to receive and be gentle with yourself. Sometimes
Yeah.
parents make mistakes. That's completely fine. Just own it and see how you can improve
Yes.
moving forward.
In this day and age, I don't really for me I feel like the concept of age is really also just a social construct. I
Mm-hmm.
respect people by their wisdom and the type of person they show themselves to be. So I respect adults and I
Mm-hmm.
respect children. It all depends on the soul. But if you are an adult and you're a nasty person and you feel like people should respect you just because you're, oh no, I don't respect you. And anyway you talk to me, I'm going to talk back to you the same way. So if you want to sit down and you want to be upset, move over, oh, I'm the adult, you're disrespectful, that's fine,
Yeah.
boo. But if you want people to respect you, you need to be a respectful person. It's like
Right.
if you're a bitch, you get treated like a bitch. If you're an empress, you get treated like an empress. So it doesn't
Right.
really matter who you think you are or what type of treatment your physical appearance or physical age owes you. You need to act like how you want to be treated. Don't put a certain energy out and be mad when you receive it. Okay?
Receiving.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm glad that the younger generation is standing up for themselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because adults, it's like as much as they do want to lecture people, you guys also need to be held accountable as well. It's not everybody else's fault.
Yeah, and I'm going to hold a space for everyone who wants to rage about their parents. They can rage in the comment section, whatever it is. But I also want to bring up that parents are also navigating, but it's all of this is so difficult to
Yeah.
accept at the same time because it's like, how can I love someone who has always oppressed me and caused,
Hmm.
all of this pain and anger? But I feel like eventually this is all a cycle. You will eventually come back
Yeah.
to the fact that,
See it for
oh,
what it
she's the
is.
inner child
Yeah.
as well. She didn't get to do this. So it's like, show yourself grace,
And other people.
setting boundaries for yourself and show grace for others, but keeping
Yeah.
that space, right?
And don't,
Right.
it's like, don't feel bad for standing up for
For
yourself.
yourself,
If
right?
an adult comes along and they're disrespecting you and they feel like your voice doesn't matter, don't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid. I mean, and they feel like your voice or your feelings don't matter simply because you're young, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself.
Right, right.
Don't be afraid to. I know, like, what I said came off strong, but it's like I really do want more younger people to start standing up for themselves because a lot of adults are also bullies as well. So
Right.
always respect yourself, always set boundaries. If somebody's disrespectful to you, don't be scared to stand up for yourself just because they're older than you. And that's a lesson that I'm still learning because a lot of judgment comes with being a young person and standing up
Person.
for yourself.
Right. All right. We'll have to end this session here. But thank you so much for all your inputs and all the advice you have thrown out for the adults
In my
and the
rage, yeah.
teens and children alike. I hope everyone will be able to learn and take something from this video. Any last words before we tap out?
I respect the younger generation and I respect a lot of teenage girls and I respect a lot of children
Mm-hmm.
because often our perspective on things goes unheard. And I hope that this video attracts a community that's willing to learn. But if it attracts, people that will get triggered, I hope they're able to reflect because usually with stuff like this, people will get triggered. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of scared for that if
Mm-hmm.
because there's always a shadow side to things, but I just hope who needed the message gets it and whoever gets triggered has enough self awareness to reflect.
Right. What's the name of your channel, your YouTube channel?
The name of my YouTube channel is Siren ENT. The E's are three, so that's SIREN3 NT, all common letters.
So, guys, you can go and head over to her channel. She speaks a lot about spiritual stuff and just her experiences, and she's even doing daily logs now. So, you guys can head over. Don't be afraid to see something from a teen. Maybe she can help you with your inner teen. Like, hello.
Exactly. Mm.
All right, so that will be the end of this video. See you guys next time.